First question is from Pepper Kersley. You are unmuted.
How are you motivated by the expectations that come with being a very high pick in the draft?
It just comes from hard work. I think I've been working my entire life to get to this point, and this is an opportunity for me to go out and show the world what I can do and showcase my talent along with my teammates. So I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you.
Next question from Devontae Hughes.
Hi, Kennedy. My question to you would be, what are your expectations on the season?
I don't really know what to expect, but I'm expecting to go out there and compete and play at a high level with my team and really play for a championship. I know the circumstances may be different, but the goal for me is ultimately the same. I love to compete. I love to play hard. So I'm really ready to get out there. I'm excited to play. I've been going to practice, getting better every day, getting stronger, and just looking at the game from all aspects. So I think that come game day, I'll be ready.
Next, we'll go to Emmanuel Glaze.
How you doing? Talk to us.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Talk to us about the speed so far. You've been practicing with some premier talent in the WNBA in practice. Talk about how the speed and adapting to the speed of the game has been for you.
The pace is very quick. It's very faster than college for sure. So me coming in, I had to change. I had to adapt. My first couple of days, it was difficult for me. But as we continued to practice, had 2 days, I got through it. We worked before we even got here. Atlanta, we were down there like 8-9 days straight just working out. So I was well aware of what I was getting into before I even got here. So I'm glad that my coaches really have took the opportunity to work on me and my game and to get me ready. So, yeah.
Next, we'll go to Chicks Into Sports.
Hi, Kennedy. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm okay. How you doing?
Great, great, great. If you had one word to describe your current mood, what would that word be?
Misunderstood.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any questions? Please let us know in the chat. Okay. We're going to go back to Emmanuel in a second. Emmanuel, go ahead.
So knowing what the situation with the team is, I know you've been asked this question before with Nay and Tiffany out. Does that put anything on you because the team will need you to start off the season? Will you be looking forward to taking on a little bit more work, or was that your expectation all the time when you got drafted high?
Man, I'm just looking forward to come in and play with my teammates that's here. Everyone that's here, we're working hard together and we're ready to play. So I'm staying within the circle. I know that we have other players out there fighting for different reasons, and I appreciate them for that. But right now, I'm just focused on playing with who's here right now.
Next, we'll go to Bria.
I wanted to ask, when you said you were misunderstood, what did you mean by that?
I think I play with a lot of emotions. I think people can take it a lot of different ways, but until you have a conversation with Kennedy, you never know the type of person, she really is. I'm really outgoing, and sometimes people can't necessarily take that or see that because all they see is me on the court. They don't get to have these one-on-one conversations with me off the court. So I would just say that I'm very misunderstood.
And I kind of want to ask you about what you mentioned the game, like you've been working on the game to get prepared for the WNBA level. Like what specific things have your coach has been working on?
Me, really just shooting the ball from the three better. The line from college to pro is really far from me. When I first came in, first practice, I was like, Coach, you want me to shoot from right here? It's like, yeah, I want you to shoot. Like the first day I thought I couldn't do it. But we're at what is it? Feel like day 20, I'm already shooting further back from the three. So it's really just a growth process for me. And I think that each day I come in, I learn something different. But as far as my coaches, they're really working on me being a leader and a point guard. So.
Next, we'll go to Bailey Johnson.
Hi, Kennedy. Nikki's mentioned that she thinks point guard is the hardest position for a rookie to learn. How has that process been for you so far?
It's been pretty tough, but it's also been pretty easy as well, just because I'm the person who is able to listen, learn things, and catch on pretty quick. So coming in, we're working on plays. We're working on different things like that. When you have your teammates to lean on as well to guide you through it, I have very good vets who help me in practice every day. So it's not really like I'm by myself out there. I rely on my teammates to help me get through and learn the plays, learn the offense a little bit better. And I can say it's working out for me.
Next, we'll have Devontae.
What part of your game do you believe translate best to the next level?
I would just say my versatility and my athleticism. I can play 1 through 3, and I'm just very athletic.
Any other questions? All right. Well, Kennedy, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Enjoy the day. Jalen, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, this is another rookie, Jalen Agnew. She's open for questions. So if you want to ask a question, please just let me know and I'll unmute you. Okay. Hold on a second. We'll start with Emmanuel Glaze.
Hey, Jalen, how's the Wubble been treating you?
It's been going pretty well, yeah. Just, day by day, having practices and hanging with the team. Not bad at all. I'm here for the ride.
Chicks into sports.
Hi, Jalen. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great, great. Let's talk a little bit about your expectation for this upcoming season.
Yeah. Well, for the team, obviously everyone's expectation is to win a championship. But for me personally, I just want to be able to be good in whatever role I'm in, whether that is playing or being the team's, best cheerleader on the bench, just being able to do my role to the best of its ability and just help the team, throughout the rest of the season.
Thank you.
So we're going to go to Pepper.
Hello, I'm Pepper Pursley from Dish with Pepper. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What's the biggest difference between the WNBA and college basketball so far?
I would say probably the pace of the game and the physicality of the game. Here in the W, if you miss one step, you're 3 steps behind, where college you kind of would only be 1 step behind. So I'd say those 2 things are probably the biggest transitions that I've had to really focus on and work on.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we'll go to Bria.
Hey, Jalen. I know the last time we talked, you just got your call and you were about to head to Atlanta. So what has this experience been like in terms of going from Omaha to Atlanta to Florida, and what positions and physically have you been working on since you've been with the team?
Yeah, it's been a crazy, what is it now, 3 weeks, I think? I don't even know. It feels like it's been 2 months, but it's only been a short amount of time. But it's been, fun ride, being able to go to Atlanta for, a week, and then coming out of Florida and working out with the team, and then seeing all the other teams also is really cool. It's kind of cool that we're all together, I think. Everyone's been super nice, and everyone says hi, when you're walking down the street. So it's super fun. And then, yeah, I'd say just, like I said before, just working on my physicality and trying to be more physical, because the league, we have grown women here, and so everyone's pretty strong and quick, and so kind of figuring out how to navigate that throughout these last couple of practices and seeing how it will translate, to games, hopefully.
Jay, I have a question for team chemistry. What has it been like so far? I mean, you said it's only been about 3 weeks. I mean, first in Atlanta, now here in Florida. What has that been like? How are you guys getting to know each other? What are you doing really off the court to build that team chemistry?
Yeah, it's been, I feel like at least for a rookie, a very easy process for us. Everyone's been super encouraging and welcoming, and, everyone's super nice. And I feel like it was a very kind of easy transition from college to the pros. Our vets are super nice and helpful, whether that's in practice or outside of practice. We hang out after practice. We went to the pool one day. We were working on puzzles one day, and so we've been hanging out outside. So I think that also helps the chemistry on the court. So within this next week, I'm sure it'll get even better, and before games start, we'll be really rolling. But like I said, it's been a super easy process because our vets and everyone that's on the team has been super welcoming and encouraging.
All right, next we'll go to Emmanuel. Oh, damn, again. Hold on a second, Emmanuel. Go ahead.
I know it's been a short time, but what has been some of the biggest differences you see from being a college player to becoming a professional?
Yeah, I would say, again, the pace and physicality of the game, especially us, we want to push pace. And so, learning 3 different plays a day, trying to get over that mental barrier as well as that physical barrier, with not being able to really do anything for the last couple months, I guess, without having a gym for a little bit. And so getting over both those barriers, I would say, and just trying to, do what I can in the capacity that I'm in right now.
Next we'll go to Sydney.
Hey, Jalen. What has it been like playing with the Dream veterans, Elizabeth Williams and Monique Billings, and learning from them so far?
Like I said, they're super helpful and they're both so nice. And I think just, be able to soak up anything that they tell me, whether in practice, if they stop me and explain something to me, or after practice, if they're just telling me how Nikki does something or how the WNBA is, just anything that they say, I've been really listening to and trying to, take heed in. And just, they've been, like I said, super helpful and just encouraging throughout the entire process. So I'm super glad that they're my vets.
Awesome. Thank you.
We're going to Devontae.
Hi, Jalen. My question for you is, how does it feel being one of the first draft picks from Creighton?
Yeah, it feels really cool. Going to Creighton at first, I didn't know that this would even be possible, but hopefully it shows that, especially from Creighton in the Big East, not as highly, I would say recruited for pros. I think just to show others that it is possible coming from Omaha, Nebraska, or I'm from Wichita, Kansas. Just being able to show others that if they want to do that, that they can and have the ability to as well.
What's it like been playing for Nicki Collen? I mean, getting to know Nicki's intensity, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's been super fun. She's super helpful. When we do mess up, she's the first to tell us, which I love because I'd rather be told the right way than the wrong way and keep doing it the wrong way. Her intensity is much like my college coach, and so I'm kind of used to that. And so wasn't much of a change there. And the way we run practices are very similar to Creighton practices. So I think it's been a relatively easy transition. Like I said, learning a couple new plays a day. It's a little bit tougher on the mental side, but I think it's been going pretty well so far. And we always talk through them every day. And so I think that helps as well. But she's been super helpful and also encouraging. And I'm really excited to see how the rest of the season goes.
Hold on a second. We got one more question over here. Brandon, go ahead.
Hi, Jalen. This is Brandon with Winsider. Now that you're in the pros, are there any particular matchups for opponents that will probably be like your aha moment that you're really looking forward to? Maybe someone guarding or someone even guarding you?
Obviously, you think of Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. Those are my first 2 things. I think it was the first couple of days I was at dinner or something, and one of them walks by and it's just like, whoa, we're going to be playing you. It's just kind of a crazy ordeal. And then I think, like you said, just hopefully being able to play them and guard them would just be insane. And so I think that's what I'm most looking forward to.
Great. Any other questions? Oh, we got one from Bria. Go ahead, Bria.
What is it like to, your experience now that you're actually there? What does it feel like to have a second chance? Have you reflected on that, and what does that feel like for you?
Yeah, I'm just super grateful to even be in this position. After being waived by the Mystics, I didn't know if there was going to be a second chance, at least this year. And so when I got the call from Nicki, I was just super grateful and just, ready to take and do whatever comes at me. So I'm just grateful and thankful that I'm here, being able to compete with the best of the best.
Devontae?
Just one more question I have for you. Who would you say that you modeled your game after?
It's a good question. My Creighton coaches, they always they try to compare me to Klay Thompson in terms of my shot and shot readiness. And so I feel like on the women's side, that kind of translates to Kayla McBride a little bit. And so I would say in terms of, like I said, my shot and shot readiness and preparedness and cutting as well, those two I think would be people I would model my game after.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, Jalen, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your media day, and good luck this season.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Hi. Hey, hello. So, hey, everyone. This is Brittany Brewer, rookie. She's open for questions. Well, why don't you start out and just talk about, what camp has been like so far for you, the transition?
Yeah, camp has been really good. It is a tough transition. Like, this league is super, super competitive, but I've got great teammates and great vets who are leading me on the court and helping me get better. Yeah, it's been really, really good so far.
We have a question from Pepper.
Hi, I'm Pepper Pursley from Dish with Pepper. And what have you enjoyed most about your time in the Wubble?
Oh, man. My time in the Wubble has been good. My roommates, Blake and E, they cook every night. And so I really, really enjoyed that. I mean, getting some delicious meals. Blake is like a chef extraordinaire. And so definitely love being her little taste tester.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Emmanuel.
It is Emmanuel from the Crush Sports Network. Let me ask you, going up against a veteran like Elizabeth, how has that been for you? Because she's one of the vets, one of the good vets, and now you coming in with your position, going up against her in practice. What have you learned from her, and what have you taken from her, during this time?
Yeah, E is just an all-around amazing player, and to get to go up against her in practice, to learn from her is something like I would not trade the world for. I've learned so much so far, and she's also just a really good leader on and off the court. And so she's really, she's helped me a lot. And she's a shot blocker extraordinaire. So if I can learn to get around her, then that's going to really help me in my game for sure. And her defense is exceptional as well. And so just to be able to play against her and learn from her, I know I'm going to get better, and I am getting better.
Next question from Chicks into Sports.
Hello. What are you most looking forward to for this upcoming season?
I am really just most looking forward to, as soon as we get games started, it feels like it's been forever coming. And so just to get to see how we gel on the floor against other people is going to be really, really fun. And to get to just see the fruits of our labor will be really, really awesome too.
Next question goes to Devontae.
Hi, Brittany. My question for you is, I know that Nicki, Coach Collen, is preaching defense just to the highest levels. I wanted to know how much have you taken into that, and are you going to be blocking all types of shots this season?
Yeah, Coach Nicki loves defense, and it's good that I love it too. And so I've honestly learned so much from her just on the defensive end and from my teammates as well. And then, yeah, shot blocking, I can take lessons from E, from Mo, all of them. I've just gotten better at my craft just from the 5 days of practice that we've had. Could be less, I can't actually remember. You lose track of time in the bubble. And so definitely I'm getting better all around at my defense. And Coach Nicki, she preaches it, and I'm totally bought into it.
Our next question is from Bria.
Oops. Oh, it's unmuted. Okay. I just want to ask you what would you consider your strongest assets of your game, and what would you describe, how would you describe that to someone else, and then what the skills you've been picking up since practicing with the team?
Yeah, I think some of my strongest assets coming in is my speed, and then also just my ability to shoot the ball outside. And so definitely having to adjust both of those to this level. But what I've learned since I've been here for sure is, I mean, like my defense has gotten better just from being here for however long. And being able to guard on the ball, that's really been something that I've been working on. And so learning a lot in that area. And then also just the pace of the game, like learning that and adding that to my game, making decisions quick, making the right decisions. And so that's something that I've definitely been working on and adding to.
Emmanuel?
How tough is Coach Taylor?
I love Coach Taylor. I love Darius. He's in there with us. He's playing up and down with us right now, and he's mostly on my team, and so he can challenge me, like, and we play off of each other a lot. But I know he's helped me a lot, like individuals, even during practice, helping me with just adjusting as quick as possible. And he practices what he preaches for sure.
So, Brittany, talk about team chemistry. What have you guys been doing on and off the court just to build that team chemistry in such a short amount of time before the season starts?
Yeah, I think our team chemistry I haven't been on another team, obviously, but I think it's really good just compared to all the other teams I've been on for sure. Like, I mean, everyone just kind of, like, everyone goes through growing pains, but I really didn't think that we had gone through any of that. And everyone seems to have the same goal and each other's best interest in mind. And really, we like team dinners. We all love to eat. And so that's for sure something that we gel over. We have a taco Thursday because our Tuesday got booked planned. And we have a lot of fun together. We love TikToks and dancing. And so it's been a lot of fun.
Any other questions for Brittany? Okay, well, Brittany, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and good luck.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, guys.
Good seeing you. Hey, Blake, thanks for joining us. I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Thank you so much for taking the time. And now I'll start with a question, and then we'll throw it out to the group. What's it like being now a veteran in this league and coming back to the dream as a veteran?
Yeah, it's weird. It was funny because when we do half court shots at the end of practice or before a game, you go oldest to youngest, youngest to oldest. And I could not believe how far back I was in the line. Like, I've always been in the beginning and, felt like a rookie or a young player. But now I think my experience will really be helpful and beneficial for the young players on this team because we're going to need them. It's such a crazy season with only 22 games. We're going to need every single body. So I think as much experience as we have that we can share will be super beneficial.
Next we get Pepper.
Hi, I'm Pepper Pursley from Dish with Pepper, and this season will be different from most. How will you adjust?
I think, just like I was saying, we're going to need every single person to play because we're looking at the schedule. We play like every other day almost. So you can't rely on 5 people to carry the whole burden of those minutes. And so I think every single person has to be ready to play significant minutes and to contribute. And if we have a balanced team, which I think we do, that will be super helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we'll go to Emmanuel.
So when you came back, was the dream one of your places that you wanted to come back to when you became a free agent? I know we're glad to see you back and glad to have you back in the house, but when you left us for that short period of time, was coming back to Atlanta a destination that you wanted to come back and play for Coach Nicki?
Oh, 100%. I told her even before free agency and anything like that, I told her I wanted to play for her. And she, quite frankly, was the only coach I wanted to play for. And I just felt like she understood me as a player, appreciated what I brought to a team both on and off the court. And Atlanta is my home. It just felt right to come back.
We got next is Chicks into Sports.
Hello, Blake. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, this season being so different, how are you mentally preparing yourself for playing with no fans?
For me, I don't think it's going to be that different. I think I try to bring the same intensity to every practice as every game. And my coach in college had a saying that practice should be harder than games, so that when you get to the game, it's easy and it's muscle memory and everything just flows. So for me, it's kind of the idea that every day is going to be a game day, so to speak, just because we want to bring that intensity and competitiveness as much as possible. I also think we have a team that will get each other fired up. We have people who are going to support the ones that are on the court and be super hyped up and as loud as we can. So hopefully if we can just hear our teammates and hear our coaches, that will kind of solve the problem.
So, Blake, what are you guys doing to build chemistry with the team in such a short amount of time, on, off the court? We just heard from your Villa mate.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been my Villa has been having some family dinners every night. It's myself, Britt Brewer, and Elizabeth Williams. That's been awesome. But then also there's a couple birthdays coming up. Myself and Jalen are both next week. And so tonight, actually, we're going to have a team dinner. Benija said she was going to make some tacos, maybe some cake, a little celebration. So that kind of stuff, just keeping it light, keeping it fun. And remembering that there is life outside the bubble, there is life outside of basketball, and not forgetting to appreciate those moments as well.
Question from Emmanuel.
What do you try to teach a young player like Kennedy? What are you trying to tell her and work with her on? Because although she has high expectations, you also, you're being a vet. What can you tell her and give her some wisdom about what she's about to go into against these WNBA professionals?
Yeah, for sure. I think every rookie needs to be prepared for their welcome to the league moment. And that is usually it could come from a block or somebody crosses you up or whatever it may be. There's going to be a moment where you realize, okay, I might be amazing. I might have been incredible in college, but I have a lot to learn from these incredible older players. I don't really consider myself a long-term veteran, but clearly I'm not, but from Strick, from Courtney Williams, from Elizabeth Williams, those types of players, I think will just give her as much wisdom and experience as they can. But for me, the thing I've learned is you have to respect every single person in this league, top to bottom, regardless of what they've done the year before, regardless of what they did in college. Everyone who's made it to this point is here for a reason, and you have to respect that. So I think as a rookie, just having that respect and understanding that everybody is at this level is really, really important.
Devontae.
I wanted to ask, what's your opinion on the new jerseys?
Oh, I like them. I think they're cool. I love the logo. You can't really see it, but yeah. I really like the logo. Oh, you can see it back there. I like the logos a lot. I think they're great. I think they look good on everybody. I love the Nike cut of everything because we did make that switch a few years ago. But yeah, no complaints here.
Brandon.
Hi, Blake. Good morning.
Hi.
All right. Coming from Princeton, you're now joined in the league with Bella. Have you all been able to share any experiences, or has she been able to reach out, or you've been able to reach out to her, going from that transition from the Ivy League to the pros, or maybe just giving her some words of advice?
Yeah, for sure. We've been talking. We've seen each other a few times in passing, but people are kind of being careful still and kind of sticking to their own team. But it's been so great to see her, see what Dallas is posting about her on social media. It's awesome. And we've definitely talked throughout the course of this. And I just, honestly, it's the craziest way to have a rookie season. I can't even imagine how I would be feeling if this was my rookie year. So hopefully I can just be a support system if she needs it. I think once games start, and first game of the season is Princeton versus Princeton, I'm sure that's going to be the headline for the game. But yeah, I think just giving her as much support as I can throughout the year. But I think she's got some really good teammates who are taking care of her as well in Dallas.
Thank you.
We have a question from Bria.
Hi, Blake. You talked about playing for Nicki and her understanding what you bring to a team, and what would you say that is?
Yeah, I think number one is my energy. Just being able to kind of be the Energizer Bunny, never get tired, be able to run the floor throughout the whole game, defend, play both sides of the ball. And then when I'm open, shoot the three. And yeah, just contribute in any small way that I can, whether it's defensively, whether it's energy, whether it's anything on the court. If she wants me to do it or needs me to do it, I will volunteer. So.
And then what kind of, I know like everybody kind of adds to their game to like be able to stay into this league. What would you consider things that you've been working on or been trying to work on over your career?
Yeah, I've been trying to work on my mid-range game a lot. I think it's kind of funny how people say mid-range is dead, and but Courtney Williams is proof that it's not. So I think just trying to have that as part of my game if people are going to run me off the three-point line, to be able to stop and pull up instead of feeling like I have to get all the way to the rim or pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Blake? Well, Blake, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. And
of course.
Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Monique. Well, Monique, start us off. Just talking about, practice and what's it like now? You and Elizabeth, the only players back this year. So just talking about how's it going, being the veteran and understanding the coaching staff and what you're bringing to the team.
I take pride in that. Coach Nicki is definitely relying on E and I to carry that weight as far as being like vets of the team. We know her system. So just trying to make her life easier, running through plays quickly in practice and making sure I'm on my stuff, making sure I'm helping the rookies and the new guys just understand the system, understand what we're doing, and really just trying to play a part in establishing who our team is going to be, our character for the year.
We got a question from Pepper.
Hi, Monique. I'm Pepper Pursley from Dish with Pepper. And I saw on your Instagram that you call yourself the self-care queen. How have you taken care of yourself in the Wubble, mind, body, and soul?
It's kind of low. You said, how do I take care of myself in the bubble?
In the Wubble, mind, body,
in the
and soul.
Wubble. Self-care is so important to me. There are so many different forms of self-care. So some days that's just me writing in my journal, reading, reflecting, being grateful, and finding just moments to have gratitude. And then sometimes it's bubble baths, doing my nails, doing facials, and doing my hair, just things to make me feel good and to really center myself. So like I said, there's a lot of different forms of self-care. So it's just whatever I need in that moment, and just finding the best way that I can use it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next question goes to Devontae.
Hi, Monique. Devontae Hughes from Georgia Sports Hospitality Media. My question for you is that, has it been easy taking on a kind of leadership role since you're one of the mainstays here?
Great question. I wouldn't say it's easy, but I love a challenge. It's a challenge in a great way. I'm being forced out of my comfort zone, and that's when the most growth happens, when you're forced out of your comfort zone. So being a vocal leader, because I know what's going on, I know the system, so being a voice on the team. There's so many different ways to lead, so just trying to figure out what's the best way for the team. I like to lead by example, so that's just going hard, giving my best effort, and just having a mindset to just be at full speed at all times.
Chicks at the Sports.
Hi, Monique. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. So my question for you is, do you have any highlights from the Wubble on and off court?
Yeah, for sure. Just building team chemistry. So it's a completely new team. So I didn't know what to expect as far as like personalities, but it feels like we're gelling, and it's super natural, like hanging out together, going to the pool. We're going to do like a taco night for, I think, Blake's birthday, someone else's birthday this week. So just little things like that. It's just super organic. It doesn't feel forced. Even yesterday, just getting in the gym for the second workout. We had practice in the afternoon, and then it was optional second workout. And most of the team was there. So it's just building that chemistry. I think that's a big highlight for me.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Question from Emmanuel.
Hey, Monique, Emmanuel from the Crush. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
You know, I know this coming into you begin that vet, and you talk about taking on that leadership role. What are you expecting from yourself? We all know about the Wubble and this tight season this year, but we all still expect to. I know you expect to progress in your play. What can we expect from Monique? I know that smile's going to be there, that hard work ethic. But what else can we expect from you this year?
I've been working hard this off season. I've been in the gym, working my butt off. So I'm expecting a lot out of myself, just to be a threat on all areas of the court, offense and defense. Just taking it to a new level. It's definitely time for that. Being a leader, it's time to step up in that role. Like I said earlier, leading by example. So I know for me, I'm an energy player. So bringing that energy, but I've also worked on my skill in the off season. And so just bringing that and just being a dynamic player on all areas of the floor. And the smile will always be here.
You got a question from Bria?
Hi, Monique. I know you talked about self-care, but when did that taking care of yourself become important to you? And like how, in what ways do you feel like that's benefited your life?
Self-care has kind of always been important to me, but I didn't really have a routine. I think maybe in my later college years, just figuring out when do I feel at my best, what do I do when I feel at my best, and then executing that. And like I said earlier, there's so many different types of self-care. It's not just going to the spa and bubble baths and stuff like that. Self-care is just centering yourself. So even just like meditation in the morning, I meditate, I wake up, I meditate, set my intention for the day, and just try to prepare the best that I can to have a great day. That's self-care. So just being conscious of your mind, your body, your spirit, being aware of just your light. You know, I'm a light. I know I'm put on this earth to be a light. So just being aware of that. That to me is self-care. That makes me feel good when I'm spreading that, when I'm giving that to others.
And have you seen a way that that's affected basketball and like your game in any way?
Yeah, I mean, it just makes me feel lighter on the court. You know, I am the type of person to put a lot of pressure on myself. I know that about myself. So when I'm mindful, when I'm having a lot of good, positive self-talk and not necessarily listening to myself, mistakes are going to happen. And I just have to be open to that and understanding of that, and give myself grace. And so there's just a lot of mind work that goes into the game, as you guys all know. So just me really trying to, I don't know, just trying to, how do I say it? Just trying to take this part of my journey really mindfully, I guess you could say. Just trying to really understand myself, to be the best version of myself every single day.
Hi, Monique. In more conventional settings, there's usually more time to prepare for the upcoming season, but of course, that's not the case this time. How have you adapted and adjusted to the speed and pace that everything is moving along?
That's a good question. I would just say mindset, just putting things into perspective and having a positive mindset. You know, you can either be negative about the situation or you can be positive. So it's like, why not be positive? Why not just be grateful that I get to play basketball? You know, I have a job. There's young girls who look up to me, who wish that they can do this and who want to do this one day. So why not just do it for them? And so I think it's just having a good mindset and having perspective of, I get to every single day. Like, I have arms, I have legs, I have the ability to go play basketball. So I mean, in training camp, my focus is just to leave every day empty. Leave every single day empty. Put everything that I have on the floor, give it all that I got. So at the end of the day, I can't say, oh, I should have given more. Even at the end of this whole process, I could have given more here. I should have done more here. I just have a focus to be more, give more, and do more.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Monique. How are you? This is Brandon with Winsider.
Hi.
And so we've seen a lot of players mention, their favorite things that they may have brought to the Wubble, whether they be blankets or a T-shirt. I know some mentioned that they have a special chain. So is that something for you to that you've brought to give you a piece of home, being in this unique situation in the bubble? And what also is a game day ritual that you think you may need to keep, to kind of like simulate some sort of normal quote unquote season?
Okay, so I don't have like one specific thing that I brought from home, but we did drive. So I brought so much food. I brought boxes and boatloads of food. I'm a foodie, so I'm not really a snacker necessarily, but I do like good food. So just having specific types of things that I need to make myself feel comfortable. I brought a lot of fruit, which by now is pretty much gone, but yeah, just having a good amount of food since we drove. That was nice. And game day ritual, usually if it's a home game, I love cooking brunch. Like that's my thing. I don't know why. It's like my favorite thing. So now that I'm not able to do that because I'm in the hotel, I guess I'll just have to figure it out. I'll have a new game day routine.
Question from Devontae.
What would your advice be to someone who kind of struggles getting up and getting after it each day?
My advice to people who struggle getting after it each day, I'm like that sometimes too. So just even my advice to myself is, like I said earlier, just putting it into perspective. Like there are people who didn't wake up this morning. There are people who don't have the physical ability to go do what you're doing and that look up to you. So honor the opportunity that you have to be the best that you can. And I tell young people, if you feel 60% one day, if you feel 80% one day, give 100% of that 60%, give 100% of that 80%. Just try your best, be the best that you can in every way possible, and give yourself grace at the same time. Honor the fact that not every day you're going to wake up feeling amazing. So yeah, it's just really important just to be in tune with yourself, to know when you have a day like that. And then just to be able to lean on your teammates or even your coaches and just say like, hey, I'm having a bad day today. I'm struggling. Can you push me through? Can you help me through? I think that's really important too, not having to deal with those types of days alone, but having people around you who can help you.
Question from Bria.
You mentioned skills you've been improving on in the off season, and what would you say are your biggest assets already that you had coming in? And then what would you say the skills are that you worked on this off season?
Biggest assets coming in: rebounding, aggression, intensity, bringing that energy, getting my team more possessions. What I've been focused on and working on, and my mid-range game. What I've been focused on and working on is just having a more effective high-level shot from the mid-range, from the three. So just expanding my game, working on my ball handling and having confidence in that. And that just, a lot of it just comes with time and experience as well. So playing overseas has helped. Going into my third year, just having that, I guess those 2 years that I've had already in the WNBA, just understanding the flow of the game. I know I'm fast and I'm quick, but just understanding that I could slow up and then change speed. So aspects like that as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Mo, speaking about being now in the league and experience, what have you been teaching a young post like Brittany Brewer as she's coming into the league with your experience? What have you been telling her in this process?
Just to have a lot of confidence. I've been telling her just to, if she makes a mistake, make it hard, make it fast, and learn from it, and then just keep going. You know, she kind of gets down on herself too. I could see it, and I'm like that as well. So just trying to keep her focused on the next play, having a next play mentality, and like I said, just going hard every single rep, just pushing yourself and challenging yourself, because that pushes me and that challenges me as well.
Any last questions for Mo? All right. Well, thank you so much, Mo, and good luck, and we appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Everyone, this is Strick. Shekinah Strickland. So Just off the top, just talk a little bit, being the vet on this team, coming to Atlanta, being the vet, and what your experience you're going to bring to the team.
It's a different challenge for me. Definitely being the vet for this team and having younger players, and just trying to talk more. Something, if you know me now, I really don't talk a lot. But it's been fun. It really has. This team, the younger players, everyone work hard. We have fun together. We compete. And that's the best thing about it. And we got a lot of great shooters and players that just want to keep getting better and want to win.
We got a question from Pepper.
Hi, I'm Pepper from Dish with Pepper, and I know that last year you were on a team that was very close to winning a championship. How do you plan to win it all this year?
I think it's just taking one step at a time. I think really starting now, how we're really learning chemistry with each other. A totally different team now, new players on this team, so it's more about getting the chemistry and getting the feel of playing with each other and just taking that step and moving forward. The way everyone working in practice, how hard everyone's working hard, and I think it's going to be a really good season. I think we'll surprise some people for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are you telling the young guards on this team, the rookies, Kennedy, Jalen, kind of from your experience?
Mostly telling them this is it's a physical league. The guards are very physical in this league. You'll be surprised how physical everyone is, and just tell them just hold their ground. I tell especially Kennedy, like, she's one of the top players coming in this league right now. Like, a lot of teams gonna be coming for her. But I know she's definitely up for the challenge. She was like, "Oh, I'm ready." But I love her energy and competitive, both of them, all of them, Jalen and even Britt. Oh man, every day I see more progress. So, just encouraging mostly, trying to keep their confident and just getting them ready for the season.
Question from Sue.
Rip, how are you, my friend? I just wondered what it was like to be reunited with your old roadie, Glory Johnson, and how you guys plan on, so I know you're so honoring Pat's legacy for playing.
Oh man, we loving it. We really never expect each other to play again, honestly. Play together again, and it's been great. Just having her around, just being around her again, bring back the old college memories and laughing and, just knowing how each other really play.
Is it kind of hard to believe that you guys have been veterans for as long as you have? Because I was just talking with Candace Parker the other day and reflecting on that too. Like, you've already been there since 2012. Is it gone by kind of fast?
Oh my gosh, yes, it's crazy. This is already like our 9th season. It's like time has just been moving.
Wow. One last question, I guess. How are you guys all keeping yourselves entertained in the bubble?
When we get in time, I know they got us on like a strict schedule. It's literally like from the beginning to the end. When we find time, we always go down to the lobbies or outside to the pool, and we hang out with each other or other players. Right now, since the games haven't started yet, I think that might be a little less once the games start.
Okay, that's good. It's not as bad as it sounded originally. All right, thank you for your time. Good luck this season. We'll look forward to seeing you play.
Thank you.
We got a question from Emmanuel.
Greg, welcome to Atlanta. Glad to have you on the squad. Being that this is your 9th year, I'm sure you've seen a lot of things in the league, but to be playing in these type conditions, what would it take? What is it going to take to stay focused, continue to play your game? No fans, just 22 games in a shorter period of time. Being a vet and seeing pretty much everything playing around the world, what are some of the things that you're going to have to put in place to help this team in this unique situation get to where you want to get?
I would say it's definitely different. I can't lie there. It's just mostly, I think, more mentally. Just how mentally strong can we be as together as a team? It's going to take everyone. It's not just going to be one or two, three people. It's going to take a whole team. And I think it's mostly we encouraging each other, keeping each other positive, especially in this, bubble, not really being able to go out or see family and stuff. So I'm just being there for each other, on the court, off the court, especially. I think it's going to be very big. And I feel like just, I keep saying chemistry because that's a big thing. If you got great chemistry and everyone's playing together, knowing each other, then we'll be fine.
We got a question from Bria.
Yes. So you talked about reuniting with Glory, and I was wondering, like, did you guys, like, I can't remember the timeline of who signed first or what, but like, did you guys call each other, and then, like, what was that reunion in person like?
Glory signed first. I had heard she was signing. I did text her. I was like, "Are you signing?" And she was like, "Yeah, I just signed. So, what you're gonna do?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm coming too." And we were so excited.
And what was that reunion like for you guys in person? Like, if you could just, like, walk us through that.
Oh man, we first seen each other. We was in Atlanta a couple weeks ago doing some individual stuff, and oh man, it felt great, honestly, to see each other coming in every day for do workouts and getting some good laughs in, and like I said, talking about memories and stuff like that at Tennessee. It was great.
And then you're kind of I kind of asked you this a little bit last week, but like, I know it's been a few days since you kind of getting more and more work under your belt, like, as a team. What are you, I guess, what are something you're most surprised about from the team that you've seen, like, that surprised you over the last few practices? And what are you looking forward to, like, in terms of, like, people seeing as a product on the court?
I think just how hard everyone's been working, how competitive. It's been a lot of trash talking, but it's good. There's been a lot of, like, everyone is competing and playing hard against each other. I was really surprised about that. But I think everyone is focused and just really want to play hard. And I think overall, I think just, like I keep saying, like, if we can just stick together as a team, as a whole, and just play together, I really think we'll be really good this season.
Thank you.
Talking about reunions, playing for Nicki in Connecticut, now with her as the head coach. What has been the difference for you? I'm seeing her as an assistant coach, now as the head coach.
I will have to say how she's more vocal. Well, she was still vocal then, assistant coach. How she's more vocal, and definitely her energy. I love it. It just feels good to be back with her. She's so smart with the game, and she can tweak things like I don't know. I'm happy to be with her, honestly.
We got a question from Chicks into Sports.
Yes. I guess my question for you would be, just walk us through just that main aha moment or that decision to say, you know what, I want to come to Atlanta.
Honestly, the first day of free agent, Nicki was the first one to hit me up. And I know she's very close with Kurt and everything and whatever. And she was like, "I'm hitting you up. We really want you. I know we're gonna have to wait to see what your decision with Connecticut and everything." And but from the beginning go, her and Chris was there. Was talking the whole way and knowing them both. Honestly, Chris as a GM, he the one did the trade and had got me to Connecticut. And so knowing that he want me again, and they're good people, know him, Chris, him and Nicki, really wasn't a hard decision. I had been in Connecticut for a while, but it was a business and things happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, talking about chemistry, and what are some of the things you guys have been doing to build that chemistry on and off the court in such a short amount of time?
Mostly we play a lot in practice. I think that's how you really playing against each other, playing with each other, getting the feel where everybody like to do or where they like to be at on the court, learning their strengths, their weaknesses. I think that's big. And off the court, it's just talking to each other, laughing, getting to know each other better. It helps out a lot. And that's a lot we've been doing.
Any other questions? All right. Well, Strick, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.
Hey, Elizabeth, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Well, thank you for joining us. We're going to open it up right away. We have a question from Devontae Hughes.
Hi, Elizabeth. Devontae Hughes from Georgia Sports Hospitality and Media. I've heard everyone, from your teammates to your coach, talk about you being a leader. Can you expand on what you have been telling the team and been teaching them?
Yeah, I think just on and off the court, kind of expanding my leadership role, whether that is, communicating more in practice. I'm more familiar with the plays and kind of with what Coach Nicki wants. So just kind of reiterating those things. And, even in film, speaking up and saying, this is what we're looking for. So just different things on and off the floor and communicating well to everyone.
Got a question from Pepper.
Hi, I'm Pepper Pursley from Dish with Pepper. And you are a Dream veteran. What have you learned from being a part of this franchise your entire career?
I learned a lot. One, I think when you're with a franchise for a long time, you learn how to communicate with a lot of different people. Obviously, you have new players that come into camp every year, and you'll have a couple returners, but being able to effectively communicate with them and, again, kind of reiterate what the coach wants. I think that's something I've learned from being here for a long time, and just enjoying being here, learning more about Atlanta, being around the city a little more, and being around the community. So that's something I try to take advantage of.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Got a question from Emmanuel.
What's going on, Liz? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. When did it hit you that leadership role with so much going on in the off season, with the things going on? When did it hit you like, okay, I'm gonna have to step in and do more for this team? Because like we just heard from Jalen, how much you meant to her, and with the new players, it's not the faces on the team are different. When did it hit you like I just know I have to take that role a little bit of leadership a little bit higher for yourself?
Well, it's actually something I talked to Coach Nicki about before the season even started. Before we even got into the bubble, I wanted to talk to her about being clear in what my leadership role looks like, and how I can make sure that people are on the same page. So I think for me, it was a matter of being proactive. And then obviously we knew circumstances were going to be kind of unique this year. And so I'm just kind of rolling with the punches in that sense. But for me, I just want to be proactive and communicate early with the coaching staff so that as things went on, I would be able to talk to everyone and kind of lead everyone on the floor.
Got a question from Chicks Into Sports.
Hi, Liz. How are you today?
Great. How are you?
Good, good, good. So I'm piggybacking off of Emmanuel's question. How easy was it to expand and step into your leadership role?
I mean, for me, I wouldn't necessarily say it's easy. I'm not super outgoing. I'm not like a social butterfly by any means, but I knew that part of this role was just making people feel comfortable. I mean, again, it's a lot of new faces, a lot of changes, a lot of kind of unknowns right now. And so I think just embracing that and making everyone feel comfortable is something I try to do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We got a question from Bria.
Hi. I think my first question was I did want to ask you like like what's your kind of leadership style, as like are you saying as like not a like a social butterfly as you said, but kind of what like how do you make people feel comfortable when you all guys are in a bubble or the Wubble, which
Yeah, I think sometimes reaching out to people one-on-one is, for me, I think a good way. I think sometimes in like group settings, people might not want to ask questions or might feel like intimidated. So whether it's just like a text to check in on someone or, talking to someone on the side, I feel like that's been an effective way for me. And hopefully people feel like they can come to me and ask any questions or if they need anything. I don't necessarily have to be the one rah-rah and yelling all the time. And then obviously on the court, I try to lead by example, always playing hard, always playing with pace. So doing those types of little things.
and then you and Monique and kind of Blake too, or kind of like the people that have been on the team before, would you consider that like the core group of like I would say leaders or like people that are setting an example?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's shown in practice as well. Just because again, we've been around the coaching staff just a little bit longer than everyone else. But I think Blake and Mo have done a great job of being really good communicators and being leaders with whatever group that they're with on the court. So I would definitely say that's the crew.
Thank you.
Ian, such a short amount of time, but what kind of progress have you seen the team make from just the individual workouts in Atlanta to now today, just about 9-10 days out from the season?
Yeah, I think, individuals it's tough to kind of gauge just because everyone's literally by themselves. And I think that's just an opportunity to get comfortable with the coaches, honestly, in a one-on-one setting. But I think every day we're getting better. I think every day we're learning. I think every day we've done a good job, I think, of pushing ourselves. Obviously, everyone's getting right back into basketball shape and working on those things, but I think everyone's done a good job of pushing to kind of get past that so that we can continue to learn and grow in that way.
I got a question from Emmanuel.
I know you are a focused individual. I know how you are. You're very focused. But have you congratulated Coach Lawson yet for being the head coach at Duke?
I've created a video. I'm not sure when she's going to see it. We're supposed to actually have an alumni call tonight. Just kind of depends on what happens with our practice schedule. But I am really excited that she's on board. And, hopefully I can congratulate her personally in that sense. But I'm really looking forward to her leading the women's basketball team for sure.
Knowing that you're like the leading returning scorer on the team and pretty much leading in every category, do you put pressure on yourself, or is it something that you just look at as that's the way it is, and you're just a new team?
I think at this point it's just kind of the way it is. I think the more pressure you put on yourself, the harder it'll be. So I think just focusing on everyone else, making sure everyone else is on board, and trusting the things that I'm good at and continuing to build on those, and then obviously trying to expand my game in any way that I can. Just kind of that combination is what I'm focusing on for this season.
And talk about like team chemistry and what you guys are doing off the court, on the court, just to build that and with so many new players.
Yeah, I think off the court, I think obviously league-wide, our focus has been on social justice and making sure that even while we're in the bubble that we're continuing that fight, continuing to say her name, fighting for, the Breonna Taylors of the world. And I think our team has done a good job of having those conversations and continuing that. And I think it's also exciting having the whole league here because we're able to have those conversations league-wide and to make the impact that way. So that's been really cool, I think. And then obviously on the court, it just takes time. And just having the opportunity to practice in this setting and getting used to one another. We're growing and getting better every day.
Any other questions? All right. Well, Eve, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your media day and good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, hello, Alexis. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time. So let's start off just kind of talking about coming to Atlanta and just the transition. How's that been?
I think it's been a good transition. The players that we have here, we've been working hard before we even got here. The week we was in Atlanta, quarantining and getting up here to finally getting to practice and putting it all together. I think it's been, it's been fun. It's been an experience, and it's just been fun to, finally get to be around your teammate and finally, get to play again. It's been a long time since I played, so I've been really like anxious and itching to, when you haven't played in a long time, you just want to see how you look.
We got a question from Chicks into Sports.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So knowing that you haven't played in a while, what has been your biggest adjustment on court?
I think my biggest adjustment has just been really getting my legs back up under me and really trying to just get my legs back up under me. Once I'm feeling getting my mental with my knee, because I'm really mental with my knee right now, but I've been working really, really hard, and I'm just super proud of myself from rehabbing for 8 months and, being with my trainer, Shug. It's been my knee's been the main focus of trying to, come back and being in training camp and knowing when I got back to training camp, I didn't have no pain or nothing. So I think my mental right now is just really focusing on my knee and trying to get my legs back up under me.
Thank you.
Got a question from Bria.
I was gonna ask you you've been rehabbing, but what was that experience like? Because I don't think many people have talked to you since you got signed and you made the roster, but what was that experience of getting that call, but also having to quarantine and kind of work out in different patches, isolated and stuff like that?
Oh man, getting that call from Nicki was amazing. I was super excited. Talking to her, she made me feel comfortable. And I was already hungry and ready for the opportunity, and I was just thankful and happy that she believed in me, because she didn't have to pick me up because I was hurt. So I was just super thankful that she went out her way to take the opportunity, to be hey, I'm going to trust in you that you're going to be back prepared and ready to go before anything. So I was super thankful for that. And just going through the quarantine, it was super difficult for me, because when Corona hit, I did have to stop going to PT for 2 months because everything got shut down. But it didn't stop me. I had a really, really good trainer, boxing coach. He does everything with me, the agilities, legs, everything. And I was super blessed that he had me super focused, every day, waking up, making sure that I used to drive 45 minutes just to go to him from Arlington to Fort Worth. And then I just had a super good basketball trainer, Shannon. And I just had those two guys who was just super connected with me and had that heart and drive to just keep pushing me every single day until I got to feeling right. And basically just having that opportunity to have more time, with the Corona happening, have more time to still prepare and be ready for where I'm at today.
And then you said you're getting your feet, your legs under you. What was that feeling though of stepping on the court again and especially after you made that final roster, just stepping on the court with the Dream in Atlanta or even in Florida?
For me, it was amazing because, coming from the injury and how hard I've been working, and knowing that, April was supposed to be in training camp, and knowing that I had, 3-4 extra months to keep putting in that work to be extra prepared for this moment and to actually not have to go into training camp knowing that I wouldn't have been ready, and knowing that now that I am ready, it's been like a bittersweet feeling for me. So, like, there's nothing wrong with my legs right now. It was just like getting on that court the first time was like, okay, like, when you just got to keep giving yourself more and more confidence every single day. And being on that court was just like, okay, like, I still got it. It ain't left me yet.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a question from Emmanuel.
So you're talking about it. What's your main drive right now? I know you're back, you're on the squad, but what's driving you right now? I know, is it to prove to yourself that you can still play this game at a high level, to just be out there to be able to play? What's the main big drive for you right now going into this season?
My main big drive right now is, trying to be the best, trying to learn how to be the best leader I can, trying to be the best point guard, trying to be more vocal, and trying to learn to where, I can not only just teach myself, but also learn to where, like, as a whole of a team, that we can all learn and grow to where we can form and build. And one day we can be in the playoffs, running for championships, all that. So, and that's my main really focus, because I do want to win another ring. And my main focus is, trying to build a culture where basically we're at the top of the top, we're at that level, we're matching people's level, and our hard work is matching everything that's possible. So that's just me trying to take it day by day and step by step, and learning each and every day, like, what it takes to be another champion.
We have a question from Brandon.
Right. Good morning. Actually speaking on, you are currently on the roster as the only member, or the only member with a WNBA championship. So what is it that, being that you had that experience, what do you think it takes to get there again, to obviously compete to obtain your second ring? And then secondly, you started your career at Duke. What is it like playing again with Elizabeth Williams?
I'm gonna start with Elizabeth. I think it's a blessing for me, like, being a young player and, like, really going back, sitting back, thinking about it. It's like, like, dang, I was with her at Duke, and now, like, we're both in the WNBA. I look at it as, like, it's a great accomplishment for both of us, And for me, like, Elizabeth has always been, like, a top player, you know what I'm saying? So it's an honor for me to be beside her and be able to be back playing with her again too. And it's going to be super fun. What was your second question again? I'm sorry.
Basically, since you have a ring already, you won back in 2017 with the Lynx during your rookie season. What is it that you're looking to build on? And I guess translate that experience of high-level performance from a team to, hopefully competing for a ring there in Atlanta.
From not being, on the championship team and getting very few spurt minutes of opportunities, but also just, being around, the Mayas, the Sylvias, the Lindsays, the Brunsons, the Simones, I learned a lot. And, just being around, like, all those players has taught me so much about the game and what it takes to be a championship, and the hard drive it takes, and the focus, and the mental you have to have each and every game, and to prepare for games. As a young player, I'm learning, like, what do I need to do every day to wake up to have that consistency, And I think just being a part of that championship team and being around, I think that's what I want to bring over here to this culture, and the coach already has it, and I just want to keep that, determination in that fight, and take everything I learned from Minnesota and put it all into my game, and hopefully, we can all just mash together and it all comes at one.
Thank you.
Speaking of that, I mean, you're a young player, but an experienced player. How are you taking the three rookies under your wing, and and bringing that knowledge that you learned from some of the all-time greats in the league to this team and these young players?
We have great rookies. I'm so proud of them, how hard we've been working in practice. They've been doing super well, and coach has me playing with them, and I just I try to give them every knowledge that I know, that I learned, that I know from the game, my experience, and I try to, give it to them. If they don't know it, I try to, explain it to them how certain ways they could do it. And I just really just let them be them. And them being them is what's going to make them great. I don't try to change too much of their game. I just try to keep motivating them each and every day and motivate them to be the best that they can be no matter what. There's nothing really that I really need to do for them. They're great players. I just need to be a motivator, a leader, and keep encouraging them and letting them know, no matter what, a mistake, it doesn't matter, to keep moving forward, and that, that can only make them better.
And besides trying to, knowing that you came back from injury, not only try to heal, what did you work on with your game just to bring a little something extra this year?
I try to work on, definitely my pace, change of pace. I'm trying to get that back down. My ball handling skills, trying to make sure I keep my ball handling skills tight as much as possible. And I really haven't had opportunities, to really just be out there. I always had spurt moments where it was like I get 2 minutes, and I might go out there and make a three or do something like that. Or I might get 10 minutes and I might have, different spurt minutes. So I think right now with me is more of me trying to clean up little things that I can do, but also try to be that point guard and understanding, knowing the plays, knowing where players need to be at positions, where they're great at, who I need to put the ball in, what hands I need to get the ball to at a certain time, knowing time to score, just all those little things. Those are the things that I really try to work on. And I really just had to work on my body. That was really my main focus, was making sure that I came in and my body looked good so I can perform. So that was just my main focus, was if I come in, my body looks good, everything else will just fall in place.
And speaking of this dream team, I mean, you look at the roster, there's a lot of ball handlers, a lot of people that could switch positions between point, shooting guard. What do you think that's going to do for us in this kind of condensed season and a lot of games and just every other day?
I mean, we've been working hard, so I don't see us not being prepared and ready. I think it's just all about just staying focused. I think that's going to be our main key. We're a young team, and it's all about taking each game by game, and being willing to put in that extra work, watch the film, the little things, what I think that I need to clean up as myself, to watch myself in film a lot, to clean up the different mistakes, watch my turnovers. And I think we'll all just come together and match together super well.
Any other questions? Brandon, go ahead.
All right, Lex, and I'm with Made for the W, and so I know we always see you, your Adidas family, and so we have this segment called Sneaker Confessions. So I want to pick your brain a little bit, and what's to get your hand on your favorite pair of sneakers, what's the greatest length that you've gone to in your past, maybe growing up or in your college days? What's I won't say crazy, but the greatest length to get your favorite pair of sneakers?
Okay, so it was high school, and I used to I wasn't with Adidas, so excuse me for my Adidas fans, my Adidas family and stuff, but we was in high school and we played in the Arizona tournament, and New Jays was coming out. And I was like always a fan of like getting the new Jays for sure. Like they dropped, I was wanting to get them. It was easy for me to get them when I was in Dallas. But then there was like that one time, we're in high school. The mall was literally across the street from where we were staying. And I was like, hey, I never camped out for some Jays before. So that night we went over there and we camped out for some Jays. I didn't get my pair, 10 and a halves ran out fast. But, my friends and stuff, they got their Jays and everything. But that's the most that I have by far went out to go get some Jays was I definitely did the camp out one time for some Jays.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Well, Alexis, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And good luck this year.
Thank you.
Hey, B, I think,
Hello.
good. Hey.
I was trying to figure the stuff out.
No worries. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
No worries.
So you are new to the team, joined late. What's it been like to join Atlanta late and then trying to get comfortable with this organization, with your new teammates, a lot of new players? Just talk about your experience so far.
It's been really good so far. I think we all get along really well. Granted, I knew some of the players before. Like I played with Shakina Strickland in Connecticut. I played with Courtney, even though she's not here. We've been in contact, as well as Liz and Lex. I played USA basketball with them in high school, so I was pretty familiar. And then Mo, I played against her over in Israel, and we hung out a few times. So even though I hadn't been on the team, I was pretty familiar with a lot of the players. So it was a pretty easy transition. And then everyone else who I didn't know, they've just been great. Everyone's been getting along really well. So it's been fun.
We are open for questions. So if you guys have one, just let me know. Talk about just your game and what you'll bring to this team this season.
I think I have a lot of versatility. So just about, I'll be able to do a little bit of everything, with my specialty being defense, but as well as on the offensive end, contributing, being consistent, and just bringing energy.
We got a question from Bria.
Hi, Benijah. I wanted to ask you like a little bit more like specifically about kind of your assets, which you kind of really, you already knew what you could bring to Atlanta, but also what kind of things you've been working on in the off season as well.
I think the biggest thing for me was my expanding my jump shot. So last year I took more threes in the one season I had my whole career because I was more of a driver, maybe a mid-range jump shot. So that was one thing that I definitely worked on in the off season to just be more consistent at the three.
And personality-wise, as like what should dream fans especially like know about you like as a person?
Sometimes it just depends on the day. Sometimes I'm nice and bubbly, and then other times it's just like I don't want to be bothered right now. But I think for the most part, I'm pretty fun. I think I don't know. It's hard to talk about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, yeah, I think I'm pretty easygoing. Fun. I like to joke around a lot, and I never want the mood to be, down. So if something happens, I'll kind of make a joke out of it to try and loosen everybody up.
I just saw that you're a Scorpio, one of the 3 Scorpios. So I'm a Scorpio too, so I get it.
Yeah. Yes, I am. I feel like the mythology, it really suits me. Like I am a Scorpio to the T.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, we saw your dance moves on the sidelines of practice, so we know you have some energy. So next question is from Emmanuel.
Hey, coming on the team when you did, I could tell you got that personality to come on. It seems like, what did you think that when you got the call to come on, what can you tell us you're going to bring to the team? I can tell right now your personality is infectious, but what else as far as your skill, your play that you're going to bring to this team going into this 2020 season?
Like I said, I think just a little bit of everything. Starting for me, I get going on the defensive end. So that's for me, that's where I'm most comfortable. So just making sure that I'm bringing that and allowing it to translate onto the offensive end. Just like I said, being more consistent, shooting the three, driving, finding my teammates, just bringing a lot of energy. You know, I'm a high energy player. So just trying to pass that on to my teammates so that we're all on the same page, that we're all, up and into it.
And one more question, playing for Coach Collen, playing with her energy, she's high energy as well. How's that been for you so far, playing with her?
It's been really good. I can appreciate a coach that's really into it, that gives a lot of feedback, and, she really tries to get us riled up in the sense of, just making us compete, but, not getting too out of hand, but, because this is what we're going to have to do when we're going out playing against each other. So I can really appreciate her as a coach.
Good luck on the season.
Thank you.
Got a question from Brandon.
All right. Earlier this week, saw that there was a Rutgers alumni Zoom meeting, and so you of course are part of the long line of Rutgers players in the WNBA. What does it mean to represent a coach like CVS and that Rutgers sisterhood?
It's great. She's one of the, I've known Coach Stringer my whole life. Let me start there. I've known her my whole life. My mother played for her as well at Cheney State when it was Division I, and they played for the first ever NCAA championship. So that's part of the reason why I chose to go there to play for her, because she's just a strong Black woman, and I just wanted to help her in any way that I can, as well as continue to foster that relationship that we had when I was younger. And I've learned so much from her. She's a great role model. She's like a mother to us all. And she's tough. Sometimes, she's really tough, but at the same time, she has so much love behind it, and she just wants the best for us. And I think that's why she had the success that she's had and produced the kind of players that she has, just because of the type of person that she is. It just transfers into us.
Thank you.
So, B, your experience in the league, I mean, you've played over 100 games in your career already, and on this team, you're a veteran. So what are you going to do? What are you bringing to the team, to the young players, the knowledge? What have you been talking to these rookies to bring them along?
I think for them, the most important thing is to encourage them to lead by example, to just make sure that they're comfortable, because that's going to be really important going into it. We need everybody to be on the same page. We need everybody to be comfortable. We need everybody to be able to go out and produce. So just making sure, if I see something, just making sure that I'm constantly in their ear, talking to them, encouraging them, and like I said, just leading by example.
Bria?
I'm going to go back to Coach Stringer and also your mom playing for her as well, but how has playing for her or being raised by a person that has also had that experience benefited you, not only like in a career like playing in WNBA, but just in life?
I think it's made me a lot tougher. Just because, like I said, like she's going to be hard on you, and you have to be able to take it and keep going. So I think that it's made me a lot tougher in different aspects of my life outside of basketball. She's taught me to just go after my dreams. Anything that I want, like, I can go get it, no matter what anyone else says or thinks. So she's just really helped, as well as my mom, because my mom, she's tough as well. So just helped me in just all aspects of my life.
Thank you.
Talk about so last year. I mean, you put in a lot of hard work in your career so far, and you had a career year last year. I mean, what went into that? Being a player that didn't get a lot of minutes, and all of a sudden, you worked your way and you got this. You had this career year. What was that? What did you do differently? And how do you feel like that's going to translate into this year?
I just kept working. Coming in, the transition was a little difficult for me because I played the 4 in college. And now at the highest level, I have to change my position and go to the 3 and do things that I didn't necessarily do in college. So my rookie year, it was a bit of a transition, but my teammates, my coaches were great. They stayed patient, and I knew that if I wanted to stay in this league, that I had to keep working. I had to, become consistent in those areas that I was lacking or wasn't necessarily comfortable in. So for me, last year, I'm older, I have more experience, and I'm back with the coach who drafted me, so I know that she believes in me. So I'm, I just kept working, and like I said, continued to work on those areas where I felt like I needed work.
What's the experience like? I mean, you've now played, this is your fourth franchise, right? At least that you've played with. So now it's like, it's definitely tough probably to bounce around different coaches, different styles. How have you adjusted to that?
I understand that it's a business, and sometimes one year they want one thing and then the next they might want something totally different. So not taking it as like that the problem is me, but just, teams, they just want to go in a different direction. So just continuing to work, not change who I am or what it is that I do, because I know it'll be valued somewhere. So I think not thinking at it as like, gosh, okay, I'm on another team or this or that, but just like, okay, there's somebody else that wants me, and there's somebody else that I can help. So that's kind of been my mindset. Like, no one necessarily wants to bounce around, but it is what it is, and there's nothing, it's out of my control. So I have to do what I do, and that's all I can focus on.
Got a question from Chicks into Sports.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Now, are there any particular matchups you are looking forward to match up against this season?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I am. I'm looking forward to a few of them.
Okay.
But yes, there is definitely a matchup that I'm looking forward to.
Do share.
I'm looking. I think it goes without saying, but I mean, I'm looking forward to Indiana.
Okay. Thank you.
That's what you wanted to hear?
Yes.
So chemistry-wise, I mean, what have you guys been doing off the court to really build chemistry in such a short amount of time before season?
We like to look at different TikToks and work on those. That's kind of been our thing is the TikToks. Other than that, we've been hanging out. We've gone to the pool. We just sit around and talk about different things. We just have a good time. So just random things. We're getting together tonight, and we're gonna have a taco night. And because it's Blake's birthday is on Sunday, and then Jaden's birthday is on Tuesday. So we're celebrating their birthdays tonight because we'll be practicing those other days.
I got one question from Brandon.
All right. I guess kind of sort of to piggyback off of that question in regards to Indiana, I kind of felt like that was going to be the response, but now that you are, I guess, you've been in the league for quite a few years, and if you can remember going back to your days in Chicago, your introduction and your welcome to the WNBA, who was a player that maybe guarded you or that you had to guard that may have been like, whoa, okay, she got me. She's good?
I mean, there were a lot of players that I had a lot of respect for, but I think but me being the competitor that I am, it's like, I don't know. Like I definitely I wouldn't say like, man, they got me, but I definitely had a lot of respect for Maya Moore coming in, Angel McCaultrey coming in, who else did I? Diana Taurasi didn't play that year. Simone Augustus, like those are the players that I had to stick, and I'm just like, those were the ones where I'm like, I have to be totally zoned in, and nothing else matters.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, Beat, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it. We look forward to watching this season, and good luck.
All right. See you guys. Bye.
Hey, Coach. Well, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you could just kind of give a state of where we are at this moment and as an organization team and for practice, and then we'll get into some questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we'll be at practice 6 today, and then we'll take a day off. So we tend to group things in 3 practices. And so kind of trying to figure out this year with this group what works best. And, really with the kind of season we're going to have that'll come fast and furious, really taking the approach in some ways that less is more, to be good at fewer things instead of just have a lot of things, so basically quality over quantity. So really trying to do a good job of figuring out, as we, kind of figure out what our roster will be on opening day, how we can best utilize the pieces we've got. But, so far so good. Things are going well here in terms of what life is like at IMG. And, our team's had a really good attitude.
So first question comes from Pepper.
Hi, I'm Pepper Persley from Dish with Pepper. And during your first season as head coach, you made it to the playoffs. Then last season, the team had more struggles than not. How are you going to bounce back and make it to the playoffs this season?
Well, good question. I think every season is a new season. You can't rest on your accolades from the season before. I think we made a lot of changes in the off season to kind of give us a fresh start here in Atlanta, even though we're actually not in Atlanta. And so, certainly, with our numbers right now, we don't necessarily have the roster that we thought we would a few months ago, with players who've opted out and players who we're still waiting on to get here. But I think it's really focusing on the day-to-day, focusing on getting better, focusing on, how do we win one game at a time? And if we're not necessarily, in the win column in the first game, how do we keep grinding to give ourselves an opportunity? I think with a shortened season, if you get too far behind, it's going to be really hard to claw your way back out. So, it's going to come down to the teams that can grind, the teams that can stay the most healthy down here, because it's hard, quite frankly, because of quarantine procedures and anything else to, get help in, when you do fall below, 10 players. So, it's going to come down this season to, our health.
Thank you.
We got a question from Bria.
Hello. So I know I have a lot of questions, but I'm just going to ask one. I guess a lot of players have been saying how hard the team has been working. They've been appreciating that, like, from each other. What are your thoughts on, like, just the group, but also, like, specifically, like, Kennedy and the returning, like, the returning core, like Blake, Elizabeth, and Monique?
Yeah, there's not much of a returning core, right? Yeah, I mean, I think they have been working really hard. I think, we're trying to balance The fact that, everybody came in here from a different place, whether they've been playing 5-on-5 or what kind of shape they were in, and really trying to load manage from the beginning. How much are we going to go up and down with 9 players? How much, can we pull out of them? How can we, go hard and then taper for a couple days and still, really work on our half court execution. So the leadership has been really good from Elizabeth, Blake, and Monique. They know how we do stuff. They know the pace that we need to do things. And so they've been good leaders for sure in that way. But still they're getting into the flow after, Elizabeth hadn't played 5-on-5 since she left Turkey. And, so just kind of the timing and, all of that, once you start screening and hitting people and, you start to get fatigue. So they're certainly working through that. As far as Kennedy, I mean, this is just a work in progress for her. It's a different level. Getting her to understand that the physicality is at a whole different level. They're not going to call as much. At this level, nobody cares what she did in college. It's a matter of what do you do today, and what are you doing today to prepare for tomorrow. So really, keeping her focused, keeping her engaged, teaching her how to be a pro on and off the court, getting her to understand how to lead. There's a difference between leadership because you're a captain and leadership because the ball's in your hands and you're a point guard. So she's probably not ready to be a leader walking in the door in terms of off the court or being overly verbal, but she's still got to command her team, understand our playbook, understand who needs the ball and when to pass and when to shoot. So, that's just a day-to-day thing for her, to get her to go hard for 3 hours. I mean, that's hard for any rookie making this transition.
And just one quick follow-up. Do you have an update on what players are not there or not practicing with you guys right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're because of HIPAA laws and stuff, we're not really sharing that information. We just hope that we get all of them sooner rather than later.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Got a question from Dorothy.
Unmute.
There you go.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Coach.
Hey.
I want to ask you how you are doing. As the coach, you've had so much to deal with, not even talking about the bubble, starting with the pandemic and, season, maybe a season, virtual draft, then you get the bubble, then you have the situation, with the Black Lives Matter and everything like that. As the coach, how are you doing in order to make sure that the team stays focused, if you're focused, just mentally and physically? What do you do to keep yourself going?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. I think that, the pandemic hit at a really, it sounds, I don't want to say that I'm going to come off as shallow and saying, I think for me, coming off a free agency period where we were so excited, about the acquisitions we made. And then, we live in a basketball world. Like my world is surrounded with basketball. And so, really stepping back and having to understand that, there were so many things bigger than basketball at the time, but also, when it's been your life for so long, and that it was difficult. I think we moved from one thing to the other. When we knew we were going to have the draft, at least that gave us, kind of, the motivation to keep watching film, keep talking to people, making sure we were talking to the right people so that we were drafting the right players. And then, always trying to figure out how do we make our team the most ready to be here, when and if that time came. We certainly always felt like there would be some semblance of a season. We just didn't know what it would look like. We didn't know what it would feel like. We didn't know who was going to be here and who wasn't going to be here. And then you start talking about Black Lives Matter and how we can support our players and the people around us, and not just the players, but the people in our lives that this has affected and touched so deeply. And so trying to balance that, people ask me, when we did announce the season, I almost felt bad saying that I was really excited about it, because I know a lot of people in this country are hurting. I know they're hurting because they don't have a job, or they're hurting because, they've protested and they've seen a brother or a sister or somebody affected in so many different ways. So I almost felt bad saying that I was excited. And at the same time, this is what I do. This is what I love to do. It's where, you know, I get motivated to get up every day, you know, outside of being a parent and a wife, you know, and a Christian. I mean, I'm a coach, you know, and so when you give me that platform to do what I love to do, it's hard not to be excited. At the same time, there's so many challenges even getting here, you know, and really being involved in, you know, what we had to get here, you know, how we had to be prepared once we were here, and then, you know, best utilizing our time and figuring out, you know, even when we were here dealing with things that we never thought we would be dealing with once we got here in terms of, you know, our roster and only playing with 9 players and what those players look like. And so it's been a challenge. But I think that, you know, I've learned, you know, I learned a lot last year in losing that I probably didn't learn as much in winning, you know, my first year as a coach in this league. And then this year, I feel like I've learned so much. You know, I went on a podcast and they were, you know, it was quite frankly a kingdom-based, Christian-based podcast, but you know, the question was like, what do you think he's teaching you right now? And I think for me, as someone that's pretty, you know, OCD in terms of liking to plan and liking to have control, like, I mean, this is a situation where we've had to like literally, you know, kind of let go and figure out how to control the controllables. And, you know, so, I mean, it's been a lot. But, you know, I'm at peace when I'm on a basketball court and I'm coaching. And so, you know, I told my team on the first day, regardless of what was going on with Black Lives Matter and what was going on, you know, with our ownership group and what was going on in so many different areas, that, you know, those 3 hours was an opportunity for us to be our sanctuary, to be the place that we get away, that we gather, that we don't pretend things aren't going on in the world, but for those 3 hours, we're fully engaged and we're trusting the circle of people around us, you know, to have each other's back. So that's kind of been the way it's gone. And that was an incredibly long answer, but, you know, it's, I know that there's so much to what's been going on in the world.
Thank you.
Yakiri, Chicks in the Sports.
Hi, Coach Nicki.
Hello.
As far as the rookies, looking at the physicality and the pace of the game, are you seeing progression?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, honestly, it's hard because how much 5-on-5? I mean, we've got 9 players, and, you know, thank goodness I've got an assistant coach in Darius that will jump in and play. But I can't have him play for 2 hours at a time, or I'm worried that he wouldn't get up the next day. So, you know, we have to. So for us, it's been, you know, can we go in 5 and 10-minute spurts, even if it's 5-on-0? You know, that we're playing with great pace. That even when we get in the half court, that our cuts are full speed, that, you know, every action we make, you know, we're doing it full speed. Because I think when you talk about execution, whether it's in the full court or the half court, that's what makes the difference. And so I think that's the part that all rookies, and quite frankly, it's not just a rookie thing. It's just, how hard are you willing to work on every possession? And in a time where I'm just not a big believer, and some coaches do more of this than others, but I don't do a lot of just flat conditioning. We don't get on the line and run suicides or run line sprints or run 17 sideline to sideline. You know, I put a ball in their hands and say, we're going 5-on-0 and we're going 3 trips, you know, and I need you full speed, and I want us in actions, and I want hard cuts. You know, I think it's easier for basketball players to condition with a basketball in their hand. And so it's 2 things. It's can you keep up? Can you do that? And can you mentally stay checked in during that time? When your body gets tired, it's so easy to, you know, start to slow down in terms of your reads, slow down in terms of, you know, okay, I know this play, you know, but we've got a team full of players that, you know, are learning our offense, are learning our defensive schemes, are learning why we do what we do. So, you know, it's not just the rookies at this point, because, you know, I've joked before, but we're like an expansion team. When we have our final, you know, once we get 12 here, I mean, 10 of the 12 were not with us last year. And maybe you can say 9 of 12 because Blake was with us 2 years ago. But, you know, from last year's team, we're going to have 10 of 12 different players. So there's a lot of learning and a lot of the mental part of the game. And, you know, when you've had your third practice in 3 days and you've gone hard. Like, what are we going to get? You know, challenging them to give us good effort, but also to be truly mentally checked in for the whole time. I mean, I think the advantage to being here is that when they're down, they're down. You know, I mean, you're not running around, you're not going to marketing meetings, you're not building your brand, you're not, you know, going shopping. If you're shopping, you're online shopping, you know, which you can do in a Normatec, you can do in a cold tub, you can, you know, so they have a chance to truly, you know, rest their minds, their body, you know, here like they never would have been able to during a normal season. So, you know, in some ways we have to remind them of what the advantages are to being here. And there's certainly more disadvantages than advantages. I can't, you know, pretend this is everything that they would want, but I think there's a way to look at it, you know, with a glass half full mentality.
Now, I have one more question. Besides Taco Thursday, what has been the highlights inside the Wubble?
You know, I think it's, you know, I just enjoy the environment. So I enjoy going up and down the elevator and seeing, you know, some of the best athletes in the world. You know, I've been walking every day, multiple times sometimes. And so you've got teams that are, you know, biking, and it kind of takes you back. It takes me back a little bit to my childhood, watching these guys bike across the bridge and, you know, just engage in the pool. And so I think in a lot of ways, it's just been the camaraderie amongst teams. You know, I was talking to Diana Taurasi the other day and Sue Bird, and they were just saying, look, like, if you want to poke holes, you can poke as many holes as you want. But the minute you decided to come here, you know, it's like, it's time to like stop poking holes and find out, you know, what's good about this situation. And so, you know, I think everyone has to have a little bit of that. You know, they said, you know, they were sitting out by the pool and just kind of hanging out. And they said, you know, we did this for 10 years in Russia. This is a heck of a better scene, you know, sitting here poolside with a glass of wine, you know, chatting about life. So I think that's the, you know, in some ways the coolest part about being here is just kind of the camaraderie among teams and, you know, players that I've talked to in free agency on the phone that, you know, all of a sudden you stop and talk to. You know, we're across the curtain from our peers all the time, you know, so, you know, it's just kind of different and not always easy, but pretty cool.
Thank you, Coach.
We got a question from Emmanuel.
Coach,
hey.
You look like you're handling everything. You're handling everything, and you talked about trying to find your style with this team, and so far into the practices with 10 days before the season starts, what style have you begun to see with this team? I mean, like you said, you have a lot of new players. You only got two, we'll call a girl 2.5 returning. But what have you seen in you having to adjust your style with 9 going on 10 players? What have you seen so far, and what type of team are you seeing that you've been able to build so far?
Well, I think there's no doubt, and this was certainly a priority. You know, we have got to be top 3 in the league in pace. You know, we just, because of the type of players we have, we've got to push tempo. We've got to play in transition as much as we can. We have to call fewer plays and run into more actions and, you know, really flow from one action to the next. You know, defensively, we're going to be more aggressive than we've been. We've always been a prevention team, a containment team, and that's always going to be at the core of who I am, but we're trying to be a little bit more aggressive with some of our trapping and different situational stuff. And then I think, you know, the other thing that this team does really, really well is shoot the basketball, you know, but we've got to get shooter shots. And so, you know, really learning that balance between touching the paint and taking a jump shot and touching the paint and finding an open shooter. And, you know, some of that just comes with these guys playing together. I mean, they can watch each other shoot in shooting drill. We've put up scores on the board in shooting drills, which, you know, certainly don't always translate to game action when someone's guarding you. But, you know, we could have done a drill 25 times and not come close to, you know, the numbers we were putting up in some of these same shooting drills this year. So, you know, we have players that can put the ball in the basket from the arc. But we've got to create great space, and that's always going to come from our pace. It's going to come from running into screens and separating on screens and really being in attack mode. So, we've got to once again be one of the leaders in the league in number of ball screens set, and we've just got to flow from one to the other. So, while with Kalani, someone that we can play into the post and play through, when she's not in the game, we're still that little bit undersized at the 4-5, where we've got to really use their speed and their separation and their ability to stretch the floor to be effective.
I think one more question, Coach, is to have your coaching staff stay intact for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be something that has been able to help you through this time, because you can bounce things off of them, and Coach Mike and Darius have, like you said, Darius can step in and say, all right, Coach, we got but 9, I'll be 10. Being able to have them by your side to go through what you went through, to all the transition and issues and to where you are now, how has that been for you as a head coach to have that consistency through your coaching career?
Yeah, I mean, you're only as good as your staff. I think any good head coach will tell you that, both consistency, camaraderie, they're family to me. I mean, there's no doubt that those guys have become family to me, and their families have become family to me. So a huge blessing. I think I'm lucky. I think Darius has stuck with me because his wife Joni, has a pretty good job. I think Darius is someone that could move on and do huge things if he wanted to, but I'm lucky enough that, their family situation allows him to do this, and I think Mike's just at a stage where he's been a head coach and done what he wants to do and just really enjoys, kind of this role. And, I give him a ton of autonomy on the offensive side. We bounce everything off one another, but, he still, they have huge voices. They have huge voices in our locker room. They have huge voices on the sideline. They have huge voices on the court. And I think it's important that I'm not always doing all the teaching. And so, when you have that consistency, it's pretty seamless in terms of how we speak, because I think we all very quickly learn to speak the same language. And the longer you spend together, the more you still speak that language. It doesn't mean that the best staffs are staffs that challenge one another and aren't afraid to play devil's advocate, and challenge ideas. And I think we have the kind of, friendship and respect that all of us can do that, we can play devil's advocate, that we can challenge one another and always, walk out of a film room, on the same page, even if we didn't start on that page, that we work our way to that page. So, yeah, I feel incredibly blessed. I feel lucky that both those guys are by my side for sure.
I have a question from Brandon.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for speaking with us. I'm with Winsider, and obviously the season is approaching, a little over a week left. And so right now, not currently at the full 12-player limit for your rosters. Has this time helped you kind of solidify your starting lineup, or is that something that is still kind of ever evolving as the opening day approaches?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to say right now. I think that, with players not here that are probably obvious starters, it's hard to say that we're getting closer to a starting lineup. And when you don't know how quickly you're going to get those players, I'm still, bouncing, moving players around, and trying to figure out what groups work well together. How do we get good balance in terms of, the ability to shoot it with the ability to attack? And so, we're definitely still in that mode where, we're working through not just who, but how much, so, you can, normally you're going to decide and it'll go game to game, but you're going to say, okay, I'm probably going to get 28 minutes a game out of 28 to 32 minutes a game out of this player. And I'm going to get, 16 to 18 minutes, but some of it is like, I'm looking at Alexis Jones saying, what can Alexis Jones do? I mean, she played sparingly in Minnesota and LA, had good good minutes in both destinations, but didn't have consistent minutes. So trying to figure out, is she more of a 1 or a 2? I mean, she can really shoot it. And so you're kind of going player by player and figuring out, I've watched a lot of film on them, but then when you get to work with them individually, you start to figure out what you think they're capable of in your system. So some of that's still developing. I mean, 6 practices is not a lot. We had a little bit of individual time in market with most of them, but, getting here, there's a difference between how someone drills and how, they look when there's defense and there's someone hedging off the ball screen, and, how do they play in actions versus just, okay, we can simulate an action, but when there's no defense, it becomes a lot easier to script. Okay, you're going to take a 3 here. You're going to bump it back and shoot a step up here. So kind of what their skill set is, but their skill set and then their skill set against defense. And their skill set against defense, that's all defensive team versus, somebody else. So what defensive assignment are they going to get? What offensive assignment are they going to get? And things like that. So still a lot to figure out. Really going into, our opener on the 26th.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And, good luck with everything. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We really appreciate you covering us and your support this year.
Thanks, everyone. Go Dream.